is Weiss in Hungarian name. For Yiddish name is Yeshua Bear. Yeshua Dov probably. Birth date 1912, May 18. Place of birth, Ungvar. Name of parents. Yeda was my mother's name. My father was Joseph. Name of siblings. Siblings is who? The
brothers and sisters.
Oh. Brother was William. The sister was Pearl. Ages of relation to you.
Older than
the
you?
brother was 2 years older and the sister was 2 years younger. I'm the middle one. The grandparents' name about them, yeah. Grandmother's name was Ziesel. Ziesel. And grandfather was Wolf.
Your mother's parents?
My mother's. My father's grandparents I didn't know. Didn't know they were not alive. Even my grandfather wasn't alive anymore when I was born. Just the grandmother I know was a wonderful lady. Every Passover we went to her house next town, and she gave everybody like $1 in the hand, you know, like a grandmother.
Yeah. What was her last name?
Her last name was Greenfield. Earliest childhood of memory. Well, I was born in Ungvar. I went to school in a Hungarian school. And in 1918, Czechoslovakia took over. Wasn't anymore Ungvar called, was called Uzhhorod. And since then we had to go to school, or Jewish school or the Czechoslovakian school.
So you were 6?
Yeah. And then when I was 14 years old, I left the school. I went to learn a trade, watchmaker trade. And I learned 3 years there. And
did you go to Cheder? Was it a Hebrew school?
oh yeah, in school we went half a day to the city school and afternoon to the Hebrew. So every day we went home noontime and came back to the Hebrew school.
The same
After,
building? The
no,
same place?
no, went back. That time I was walking, no distance, 2-3 miles to walk.
Did
to
you
school.
have shoes?
Huh?
Did you wear shoes?
Shoes?
My father's pictures, they don't have shoes on.
Shoes?
Yeah.
No, that in our city was a really better life than in the smaller towns. Smaller towns, they were so poor. They didn't. I didn't have a father, but my mother somehow always managed to have everything. I don't know how she did that. Probably help from the grandparents. And then after about 10 years after the war, so 1918, 1920, she got pension from the state there.
When did your father die?
In 1914, right away the war started.
So you were just
First week he went in the war, he died. He left 3 children. My brother was 4, I was 2, my sister was 2 months old. He went away in August, she was born in May, June, July. 4 months old she was, my sister. And my mother left with 3 children. How she did it, everybody don't know.
Did she have
We
brothers
had
and
a
sisters?
house, three rooms, and after she was so bad, she made that from one room a restaurant. So she cooked for about 8 or 10 people, every day lunch and dinner. In Europe, lunch is like here dinner, big lunches they eat. So from that, what she cooked for them, and they paid, we had what to eat. And about 10 years like this, after we were already bigger, like 18, 19, so we made already enough. We didn't need it to do that. My sister and my mother were seamsters. They were sewing. So they made something. We made, but then came the recession, 1933, around that was so bad. I went away from home to a big town like Prague, Czechoslovakia.
It was far away, wasn't it?
Oh, about 1,000 kilometers was going a day and a night there.
In a train?
In a train, yeah. And I remember I didn't have the money to buy the train ticket, so I borrowed my mother's watch and chain. I put it in a pawn shop. I got money in buying a ticket. This was around Tisha B'Av time. And after that, I told my sister around Yom Kippur, I'm going to send you the money. She won't know. She won't miss it. She will never look if the watch is there. But Yom Kippur is the holiday. They dress up. She's going to look for it. So I sent home the money to my sister, Yom Kippur, and she took it out. And she never knew it, I borrowed. And then I came every year home twice.
So how old were you when you went to Prague?
I was 22, 1934, 22 already. I was there.
Did you work in the restaurant?
No.
Just your mom?
I went to work. My mom just worked home as a seamster with my sister. My brother worked in a shoe store, and I worked in a watch store, like in jewelry stores.
When you were young?
Already by 20, 22. From 18 years up to 1938, 39 till Hitler came in 1939. Then it was bad. Everybody had to go into workman's camp to work. But I lived on the black papers. I never went into work there. I was running around. I somehow managed till 1942. In 1942, Hitler said every Jew has to go in to Theresienstadt. I was in Prague. I didn't go. I ran away from Prague to Budapest. By 4 weeks took me, by night and day, wagons, trains, in horses, in cars. It was terrible. It took me 4 weeks to get there. Finally made it there. And there in Budapest, I found a person who was my mother's hometown, at a jewelry store. And he gave me a job. That's how I worked there around a year. And after that, he had to close up his place too. Hitler came. The Nazis were bigger and bigger every day. So finally, Hitler came in 1944 to Budapest.
And what happened to your family, to your mother and your sister?
Between my mother and sister, they had a special paper that they didn't go in. They took everybody in a factory like and put them away to Auschwitz. But they were like, like my father was a war, a lot fell in the war, so they had a special stayed a privilege they had. Stayed another month. Eventually she wrote me a letter, I still have it, the letter, and we are glad you are in a good place, and also no more help. We have to go into the brick factory, they make bricks.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big factory, all the Jews, to put them down there, and they took them to Auschwitz from there, and she said.
So what year was that?
My mother and the baby we are going. She was married already then, and her husband went away too. They took him away somewhere in Russian front, somewhere, my brother too.
What year was it?
I was in Budapest.
No, what year?
Oh, this was 1944.
So they didn't go either till 44?
Till 44 they didn't go. They were there, but as something privileged, like, when your father was a Hungarian soldier and he was hungry, this hometown, Ungvar, so they give her another month. They said they won't have to go. Eventually they took them too.
How about your brother?
My brother went into work as a soldier without a gun, in the field, digging for the soldiers, and they went into work. They call it workman's soldier, just to work there. But they had uniform on, without a gun.
Did he go to Auschwitz too?
No, he was in Russia and between the Hungarian and Russian front he was. And then they took him all the way to Yugoslavia somewhere. When I came back, I heard a guy said, "Don't wait for your brother. I saw him dying." A bomb fell on a bridge. He was under the bridge then.
So
When
that's
the bomb fell, and all the rocks, all the stone, was on him till they took him out. He bleeded to death. So he told me, this guy, in 1945 when I came back, he said, don't wait for your brother. I'm telling you, he's dead. I even know the doctor who helped him, Dr. Klein. If you want to go to Budapest and find him, I didn't find him. I went to Budapest, I didn't find the doctor. And anyway, he was dead. My sister was in Auschwitz dead, and my mother.
They just died right away? They took him to the gas chamber?
They took him to the gas chamber right away.
Because your sister had the baby?
Yeah. She didn't realize. She would be smart. She would give the baby to the mother. The mother would go with the baby. She could be alive. I guess she said, if I can't go with my mother and my baby, I better die. I guess that's what she must have figured.
Yeah.
So she died, and when I came back, I heard from girls that she is not alive. And the one came back, the single girls. And since then, we came home. We stayed. After the war, we came back home to hometown and waiting. Somebody will come back, relatives. Nobody came back.
Had your grandmother too, they took? To
Oh,
Auschwitz?
they were dead already.
But she also went to Auschwitz,
No,
or
no,
she already
they
died?
were dead already. And they were dead already till the Hitler came. I think they died before somewhere in 40s.
Did your mom have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, here in the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Max Greenfield here in Hannah Goldberg, too. Brother
Okay.
and sister, and another brother in New York. But they never corresponded with them. My mother wrote to one aunt in Cleveland. She lived on 90th in St. Clair, and she sent me the affidavit.
That's the one you came and you stayed with
Yeah, that's
her?
how I came in as an affidavit, regular. I even had money to pay for it, for the shift card. And we came here, and that, what else can I tell you?
Well, I want to go back to when you were a little kid. What do you remember? Did you play? What did you do when you played?
Oh, when I was little, I went to school in the Haider.
Uh-huh.
That was the best years of my life.
Yeah?
Yeah, I went to school half a day here, half a day there.
Were you a troublemaker?
No, I wasn't. No. My brother was a good football player. And I did a little bit too, not much. Soccer football, not like here. Yeah, and after we got 14, we had to go to work. He went to work in a shoe store. I needed the money, my mother, and I went to work to a jeweler. I made about $100, 100 crown a month, and he made about 400. And my sister was sewing. She made some, so she had a little pension then.
But when you were done, what did you do? When you wanted to have some fun, what did kids do then?
Fun? We had very good fun life. When we were 14, 15, 16, 18, there was like coffee houses. And there was in the side rooms ping pong thing. We belonged to Jewish organizations like Maccabi and another one.
Like the JCC? Like a community center?
Yeah, Maccabi, and there was another one, like Hechalos belonged to like Israeli thing they came. From Israeli people they bring it. So we belonged to, we had fun there and played ping pong, billiard, football, and we went to movies. It was a nice town. Our town was very nice.
And who was your first girlfriend?
Girlfriend wasn't there.
When you were young, when you were 12, 13?
No. Even when I was 18, I was from the same school, but we went the same age, same street we're living, like, we were like sisters and brothers we were, the girlfriend. That time they didn't think of it to have a girlfriend like, here is already a girl who's 16, 17. It's not to go out, they already have more closer. They're just high and not even a kiss. I don't think she was ever there. I mean, I don't remember at least. And when I was 22, I went away from home, like I said, and there it was a very fun life. From 1934 till 39, till Hitler came, was such a good life.
In Prague?
Oh, there was girlfriends, there was a good job I had as a watchmaker, He made a living. I mean, not like here, just a living. But it was fun the whole life. Was everything cheap? Was so cheap and
They had plays and movies.
oh, the big city Prague is like Cleveland, 1.5 million people. There was about 150,000 Jews. When Hitler came, 1939, which was March, in 1940 already, 1939 he came, 1940 already give out things that every Jew has to give in, the valuable things. That's how it started. Then somebody ran away, to other countries, to England, Switzerland, Romania, to Israel. Then was less and less Jews. And every Sunday was a transport, a train, 1,000 Jews to take them to Poland. They didn't know Auschwitz. We just know now. Till we didn't get there, nobody knew about Auschwitz. Nobody in Hungary or in Czechoslovakia or Romania, nobody knew Auschwitz. They take them to work in working camps. And nobody came back. Nobody came a ladder. Or there they stripped you and they put you. If you were in the beginning, they killed everybody, young, middle-aged, old, till I guess till 1942, 43 they were. Till 42 for sure, they almost killed everybody. Then after that they got smart. The middle age, between 20 and 50, better put them to work. So they needed help. So they put the people. When I got caught in 1944 around August, I think so, it was Rosh Hashanah was a holiday. I got caught.
Did they come to your house?
No, on the street. I was arrested as a
Did they know who you were? They were looking for you?
He knew me. That guy who arrested knew me. Well, he made my papers for money. I paid him 10,000 crowns that time. He made my papers. And he knew me, so he arrested me and he wanted some money from me. But I didn't have it on me. And they put me in a bank. So the Jewish banks was already empty.
Mm-hmm.
All like a safe. This was a jail already made from the banks.
How many people were in there?
Oh, there were about 40, 50 people. The next day they took us on a train to Auschwitz from Bratislava.
Just straight there? Straight to Auschwitz, or they stopped?
Yeah, straight to Auschwitz. No, they went around to city, to Dachau. Nobody wanted to take us in. There wasn't enough place there. It was all filled up. But finally in Auschwitz they dumped us off and they put the old people in the oven. In the middle age, I was 30 years old. Then, 1944, I was, 32 years old. Then after that, they put me, it happened, I met there a guy in Auschwitz. He recognized me from Budapest. He says, Weiss, what are you doing here? I said, like everybody, I got cut too. So you gonna go tomorrow, gonna come a German soldier officer looking for engineers. They need engineers. You just tell them you're an engineer. They Germans, they're stupid. They'll believe everything. So that's what happened. Next day he came and I said, I'm an engineer, and it was so good. They took me to a factory and to work, making nuts in boats, screws. And I did good a few months. That was, what month was it? September, October, November, December, till January I was working there.
This guy who told you, was he a capo? He was a...
No, he was in Auschwitz, a Jewish Polish guy, but when they caught him, he proved that he's not Jewish. They took him anyway as a political thing. He was there, not as a Jew. So he was free there in Auschwitz.
But he was a Jew.
He was a Jew, but by them he wasn't a Jew. It was like a political thing. He was, was writing down, sending messaging. He wasn't like the Jews were there. But he recognized me. I know he's a Jew, but he knows me right away. Amazing how he recognized me. I was so skinny then. Already a week I was in Auschwitz. I must lose at least 20 or 25 pounds already in a week.
So they took you off the train and they sent you in the line to go.
Yeah, like you see that the movies.
Yeah.
From the train down to go to undress, go in to clean up and change clothes and washing and one door in, on the door out, empty, naked. But they give you clothes and send you away to a factory to work. That time already they already knew they lost the war, but they still were holding on to it. And they sent me away to a small town from Auschwitz to Weiss. That city was making trains. The broken trains came in, we fixed them. And that's how I stayed there till January the 20th. Then when Russia came.
So the Russians liberated.
When the Russian came, they were running away and Russia were coming in. And from there we evacuated us from Gleiwitz to another city, Blackhammer, another Polish city, close to Germany. They ran away, all the Germans, and they left us there.
What did the Russians tell you when they came in?
And the Russian came in, they were asking from us how many Germans are around. I said, they ran away. I don't think you find Germans. Which way, we had to show them which way they ran. And they asked us what we did there. So they left us there, the Russians. They followed the Germans.
Did you know it was over?
The
Did
war
you
is
know?
over. Yeah, we knew it already then.
So what did you do that night?
That we walked backwards to our hometown. From that to Poland.
So you left the camp?
Yeah, we walked about a dozen guys. I hardly could walk. I don't think so. I weighed 70 pounds.
Nobody gave you food?
No. We stopped in some of the houses. People didn't have, but what they had, they shared it. You know, a little bite, a little piece of bread, or a little carrot, a little onion. You know, very little. Then we came to Krakow, the city in Poland. Then I was there a week. I went from house to house every day, just a bite. The poor people, the poor Polish woman had a soup she gave me. But the rich people didn't sit you down, give me your food. The rich people didn't give. They all said we don't have it. True or not, I don't think they didn't have much.
Mm-hmm.
They had, but didn't have much.
Where was the Red Cross?
The Red Cross supposed to come, never came. There was a building, the Arma di Spazi, what they call it, the Y, and there is another thing they help. They're going out singing on the street, remember?
The Salvation Army?
Salvation Army came. That helped us.
They did?
Yeah, the Salvation Army helped us.
The American Salvation Army?
No, it's
From
all
over
over
there?
the world. Salvation Army's all over the world. Oh, they're big help. And
Well, where did you get help?
in the city they helped. A little clothes, a little food. But I didn't need it, nothing. I went further towards Czechoslovakia. And finally I came next day on the street and I met my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, on the street. His name was Martin. And I hollered, Martin, and he hollered, Shonyi. So we hugged each other. So we left all the other guys
In Krakow? This is
in Krakow on the street. So from there we went together home to Czechoslovakia and met in Košice a few people. They give us a few clothes and
You walked?
walked. Took us 4 weeks from Krakow to walk home to Uzhhorod. I came home February the 20th was a Purim day. 1945, February 20th was Purim. I came home to my hometown, and there was already about maybe 6 or 8 families Jewish. And the Feldmans was there, I remember. I went in there, oh, food, they give us everything. Then another guy, not Jewish guy, recognized me. Hey, son, you come here. He took me into his house. Anything you want. Yeah, they were very nice to us. There wasn't too many came back. So I stayed there till February the 20th. Till April 21st, I went back to Budapest and I found her there alive, and I took her when I come home, get married. Yes, we got married and we stayed till April, May, June, I think so, end of July or in August. Already as two communists, I don't want to stay but a communist. So we went on a train, left everything, sold everything, the place. We went to Budapest. From Budapest we went to Prague. There I was writing a letter to my aunt. I knew in my head I had the name in the address for my aunt. 789 East 90th Street, St. Clair. And I had this in Hannah Goldberg. I wrote her a letter and she wrote me back with a phone number, and I called her from Prague. That I'm the only one alive from everybody. So she sent me papers.
So what, she talked to you in Czech?
Yiddish in Hungarian, yeah. Most Yiddish in Hungarian, yeah. She knew. We were corresponding then from home, Yiddish and Hungarian too, yeah. My mother went to Heidelberg, she too. So they knew Yiddish, writing and talking. So that's how I was in Prague, waiting for the visa.
What did she say in her letter? Was she surprised you were alive?
Oh, she was very much surprised. And she remembered on us while we were riding here and there, but every 2-3 months we had a letter from her. And I remember in 1940, I already wrote her a letter that Hitler is already here and that is very bad. At least he could help us. One from the family should come out, and he's going to help the rest. So first is my brother. He was the oldest. So I wrote in the letter in the name for my brother's name, and they want to send us papers, but never arrived. Well, Hitler was worse and worse every day in Hitler's time. But I cannot tell what I went through in Prague. I was going around without a star. I took a chance. At least I said I'm not looking Jewish, so on the street they won't stop me. Hey, you are a Jew, show me papers. Most Jews there looked dark-headed, real dark. A Jewish guy looked like today's the Arabs.
Semitic.
Yeah, they recognized a Jew right away then. But if you have blue eyes and blonde, I didn't have the hair anymore there. I was blonde that time. Somehow I was lucky. I was never stopped. But when the papers came in 1942, you have to go to Theresienstadt. Like everybody, that was the last Jews. But they couldn't touch me while I was Hungarian. In Prague, in Czechoslovakia, I was a Hungarian citizen. They said, no more citizen, no citizen, Jew. I have to go. I didn't go. I skipped on a train and I went across the border to Budapest.
Just by yourself?
No, with another friend. And we both together found a guy. We paid him 10,000 crowns. Took us, he knew the borders. He was a skier. He was going every winter, and that was in February too. There was a real big snow, and he took the ski. Then he went ahead to check if there is guards, if there is police. Then he came back, you're free. So he took us across.
What happened to that guy that you crossed over with? Friend?
He came back. Oh, the guy together, he was about 300 pounder. He was walking with me. He was all right. The minute we get to Budapest, like we crossed over, he went straight to the hospital. He got such a sickness, like arthritis from the snow. You were walking. He wasn't used to it. You walk about 3 weeks, walking and walking, and made miles and miles. Who knows, maybe, I don't know, maybe 200 miles we made together. More. 1,000 kilometers we walked, yeah? Exactly, that's from Prague to, 1,000 kilometers we walked. I mean, here and there we found a wagon, a horse, and maybe a car, but most of it was walking, was safer walking, hiding and walking.
So it was during the day, you walked during the day?
In the night, during the day we laid down somewhere always. We found the guards, they always referred us to this family, who will help us. And in the night we started to walk, and in daytime we stayed. In the daytime they recognized us. Early in the morning, we already started to go find hiding place.
So where did you hide? What were some of the places?
Well, always in the schools, like Jewish schools was closed up.
Mm-hmm.
And in every city was a few Jews left to take care of the rest of the stuff. Who knew everybody, who give information for the Nazis, and they helped. They didn't. They helped. He says, "I can't take you in; they'll kill me too if they find you here." So you go in this street, the schoolyard, and the schools is open. If it's not open, break it. Go in there. We stay there, daytime, and the night we went further.
And what did you eat?
Well, they give people help. If you say you're hungry, a European person, if he don't have, he'll give you he'll share it. That's amazing how people help. And I remember one day I went on a train. You couldn't walk, this was too far. And I went on a train from one city to another city. It was about 200 miles. So on the train, I see police guards coming up on the train. And there was working people, most of them women. And the women, I said, what are they going to do? They ask for papers. I don't have papers. Everybody who has, it's here has to show the papers. And, so I went in the bathroom. You know, in a train, if you go in a bathroom, you close it, it's marked closed and open. Or red is means it's closed and white is open.
Means you can go in.
I went in the toilet, but I didn't close it. I left it open. And he never looked in, the guard. If he would have looked in, he would have found me, no papers, take me down and took me who knows where, in somewhere where they put together all the Jews and take them to Auschwitz. And I went through and I went to my hometown then. In my hometown, I knocked on the window. My mother said, hey, Shani, she recognized my knocking.
Really?
Yeah, she recognized me right away. And then they opened, I was there 1 week in the hometown by my mother. I didn't want to take a chance if they catch me. They take my mother too. But they said, who hiding somebody? It's dangerous. So I went to Budapest from Hungary to Budapest. There I found a man from my hometown, from my mother's hometown, a small town. His son had a jewelry store. And they give me right away a job, and I sit there and work. And I found a place where to stay. And everybody asked, how come you 30 years old, you're not a soldier, you're not I was living in Christian papers, false papers. I said, I can't be a soldier, they send me home. I have heart trouble. So I got away with it from 1942 to 44 in Budapest.
So last time you saw your family was 1942?
And then in 44, I already was corresponding with my sister to my hometown. That postcard, I still have it. She wrote me, and also no more help. We're going already to they call it.
How do you still have it? How did you keep it?
How did it happen that I had it? Oh, where I was living in Budapest, I had some papers and some clothes. When I ran away, I left it there. And I came back from the war, and I went back to this family, and I said hello, and they said, you know, you still left here some stuff of yours. And they gave that back to me, and this was there. I still have it here. It's a postcard dated in 1944, dated from my sister's handwriting.
Did you have pictures there too?
Picture, no, it's just a postcard, no She never sent me a picture from the baby or from there. And I never saw him since then when they went away.
And what about her husband? What happened to
Her
him?
husband went a year before to the working camp like my brother. My brother came to Budapest to visit me once. He said, we are going, they're taking us out to the Russian front. So I just knew where you are, I knew my address. And I was living in a Christian paper. It said Weiss, my name was Fehér Sándor. It said Weiss Sándor, I made that Fehér Sándor.
You changed it yourself?
I did, yeah, I falsed papers myself. I was so good, I could make rubber stamps. I did it myself. I mean, you were a group guys got together. Everybody knew something. So we have, and let's say in Budapest, 6 months you could stay in an apartment. If not, you have to get bread papers, meat, little stickers to buy bread. You couldn't buy for money. You had to have a little tickets for that, for bread, for meat, and what else did they? I think so butter too, fat. Yeah, margin did not bother. Since then, there in Budapest, 6 months I stayed in this place, and after that I went away to my boyfriend's place, and he came on my place. So like I said, I have to go in the army, I told the landlord. So I went away for 6 months. And then he said the same place, I have to go in the army, and he went to my place to live. You know, a different neighborhood, like east side, west side, in a different neighborhood.
And so why did you do that? Just so they wouldn't be able to keep track of it?
They shouldn't think of what's going on. They shouldn't know. And then 6 months later, I came back to the same place to sleep. They somehow or didn't know, or they were stupid, or they knew and they didn't care. I think that the one place I had all the time, they knew and they didn't care. Well, I was very nice to them. It happened wherever Germans came in, wherever Hitler was a lot of money to make on the street, you know, black market. There was a lot of money to make. So I had enough money in this place where I lived. I bought them, like I bought a bottle every day, and they like to drink, Hungarians. I made bets with her, like the guy's wife. I bet you can drink 5 glasses of this. I needed it, and then she said, I can't, yeah. She should drink herself to drunk, and then she was happy. I had to make them happy. They loved you. You were like spending money on them, you know, they loved it. But they were, besides that, they were very good to me.
Did they know you were Jewish?
They probably knew. Well, my brother came to visit me there. And they made a good dinner, you know, lunch, and they made. And my brother, I remember one minute when my brother was eating, you know, once you're in the army, you have to eat fast and go. So he was eating fast, and I kicked him. What's the rush? He says to me, Yiddish, was willst du? And I said, you know, like, they knew he came with this clothes, not as a soldier clothes, but not as a Jewish soldier clothes, working clothes. And he looks, I kicked him, but he was in such a hurry. But you're not in the camp, you're sitting here. He was such a, you know, if you know from the concentration camp people, when they came home, they were the same. They were normal. You were eating fast as soup. If not, maybe you have a chance to go for another soup, if you finished. He was eating so fast, and I kicked him. He says, "Was willst du?" And then Yiddish. And they knew right away something goes on. But his name was Weiss, and my name was Fehér.
And they knew he was your brother?
They probably knew it, and they didn't want to know. But they were very nice. I was very lucky with that place. I had to go away many times and come back. They took me back many times. And when I came back after the war, I found a little clothes there in the papers. That's how I found it.
That's nice. Nice.
And that's something. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of things, but somehow fast you don't remember.
Yeah.
Between what happened. I remember one night I heard the in a building where you stayed in this apartment, there is another landlord who takes care of the building, a caretaker like. And they when somebody ring the doorbell from the building, by them it ringed and I was above them. And when I heard the ring, the bell, I was right away up with the clothes in hiding, if they come for me or not. And they came for me once, they took me, and I bribed them. I give them a rhinestone ring. I told them, this is for my family. If you let me run away, I'll give you this ring. He said, but I have to shoot. That doesn't matter. You can shoot. You won't shoot me with a gun. I run away with 50 feet. You can't do that. So I bribed them and I ran away. Yeah. And so many times happened with other friends of mine too.
And you went back then to the same house?
Yeah, came back to another neighbor in a few days, few weeks, and then came back. So when on the street you walk, if you in trouble, you walk, then you have to give a signal. Maybe a policeman is behind you, they want to catch the rest of the guys who live there on black thing. So you have to make a mark, like this is the mark, puts clean, go away from me. So that was the signal
Do it
in
again.
Budapest. On the street we were walking, the signal was, if I'm in trouble, don't come to me, don't say hello. I did like this. That means, like I was cleaning my things. The guy behind me didn't know what I'm doing, but the guy was coming towards me, so I do this, oh, he's in trouble. They went around me, they didn't say hello. If you say hello, they catch them all and they took them in. That happened daily. They were looking for people who were living with false papers.
How many people knew that signal?
There were about a dozen people there, all from Slovakia, most of them. You know who was there too? Smilovich. You know Smilovich? And the father? Yeah, he was there too in Budapest. He was living there, and there where he met his wife.
Evelyn?
No, Edith. The people was there. And we were friends together, staying there how long we could. And he stayed in Budapest. He stayed alive there. He was hiding by somebody, and he came out alive. He wasn't in Auschwitz. I made a mistake. I ran away from Budapest to Bratislava. And there I was caught, and they took me to Auschwitz. If I would have stayed, would be probably like him there. But
So why did you leave Budapest? You thought it was getting too
well,
close?
I didn't trust the Germans, Hitler, and there were enough Nazis, the Hungarian, because when the Germans walked in, there were more Nazis. They were killing people. I wasn't there, my wife was there. They were killing, like a friend of mine from Bratislava, when I was caught, he ran away. He took my leather coat and he went away to back to Budapest. They caught him on the street. He ran away from there. When they caught him, he jumped in the Donau, the Danube, and he swam across. But they were shooting after him, and they shot him. He died. He died.
With your coat?
And with my coat, yeah, poor guy. That's what I heard. He heard about it, the Smilovich, and another friend of mine who became alive. And there's a few more in Prague. Is a few guys. And I have a few friends in New York. But other than they all spread around and got lost. They never heard from each other.
So you didn't go to work every day, did you?
Where, in Budapest?
Yeah.
No. That time didn't have to go work. There was so much money to make on the street in black market. There was so much money to make. Every day was changing the course of the dollar, of the gold, of anything. You buy a carpet, you buy a jacket. Next day you can sell it for twice as much. There was so much money to make. Wherever Hitler was money. When I ran away from Budapest to Bratislava, 2-3 months, I was there I never knew nobody. And made friends, and made money there. And I left there a lot of $20 gold pieces in that apartment. And I came back to Bratislava to find it. The landlord said that there was an accident in his apartment. Students took over, and they happened to touch that place and turned over and fell out all the gold, and they took it. That's what he told me. He don't have it. I came to him. He should give it back. He probably found it. He said no. The students found it. He never had nothing. Matter of fact, he said after they arrested the students, they were spending too much money, gold they had, they came back to the apartment, they cut out the mattresses to find gold. They thought they were somewhere hidden. That's what he told me. He showed me it was cut out. It's true. And
So what was it, give me a typical day. What did you do in one day? From morning when you woke up?
well, we got together, always guys. Never was alone, like.
First thing in the morning?
In the morning we came out and met somewhere on a street corner. Then they went to somebody's apartment. Then he heard something. Where is to make a dollar to make a living? And to buy, it was expensive, the food. To buy a bread or to buy a piece of meat or a chicken. But money was so much. There was so much money after Hitler came. They printed the money, the Germans. Whenever they came into Czechoslovakia, they printed money, and there were money throwing around. They went to restaurants, and girls, the German officers, they spent so much money there. They lived it up. They knew that's their days are counted, but they couldn't help it. They went to the war, to the front, and they died.
How did you follow the war? How did you know what was happening? It didn't say it in the paper, did it?
Yeah, it was in the paper. In Budapest, when I came, in 1942, they already knew that when the Germans went to Russia, and they lost there, I don't know, 4 million soldiers. You know, the biggest winter was in 1942, and when the Germans went towards Russia. They were 100 kilometers from Moscow. They almost had Russia, but the big winter, they froze soldiers, even Russian and German. It was the biggest winter in the history that time. And that was the Russians' luck. They never made it, the Germans. They died there like flies. They froze. They never made it. You know, everything was so far. Russia is big. Everything was so far from each other to go. They broke down with their tanks. They had to walk, and they froze. They died, the soldiers, and Russian soldiers too.
Was there any way for Jews to get out, to go to the States or to go to Israel in 1944?
Well, there was in 43 and 44, the beginning, people went towards Romania, and from there it was closer to Israel. But most of them got caught at the border, most of them. And we wanted many times to go.
You thought about
we
it?
We even went, and we almost got caught. We ran back to Budapest. Oh, we had this mind many times. Many people got through. We went to Switzerland. From Romania, it was easy to go, or Israel, or somebody took a chance to go to Israel, to Switzerland. And there you began. I know people here. They're alive. They did it. They're still there in Switzerland. Yeah.
What happened on the Jewish holidays, like on Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah? Did you know it was a holiday? Did you?
Yeah, they didn't care. No, that time. Who cared what's going on for the religious? And why to be a Jew when you are hunted? You are hunted so much, but we lived together. We got the luck was everybody. There wasn't so much down, you know. Everybody was somehow hoping, so it didn't fail. They said any day it must be over. they knew the Germans lost the war. Only the Germans didn't know. Everybody else knew it. Everybody in the world knew it. That, of course, when they went to Tunis, all the way to France and Russia, they were already goners, the Germans. But they still were holding on till the last minute. In 1944, I got caught, the last minute. I was just about 5 months in a concentration camp.
When you went to where you worked in the screw factory, did you have food? I mean, you were okay, or you didn't?
No, very little food.
So you were
Right.
skinny when you left?
Oh, when I came home, I bet I wasn't 65 pounds. I didn't weigh. I don't think so. I weighed 65 pounds when I came home. And I went home to my hometown, and they took me to the hospital the next day. I got tonsillitis, and there was a Jewish doctor there. And I was there about a week in the hospital. And then this guy helped me. He took me to the house where my house was. There was living other people, and he said, you have to get out. That's his house. He came home.
Were they non-Jewish people?
Non-Jewish people were living there, and they went out. But I couldn't find nothing. No clothes, no furniture, no, like my sister's sewing machine. I figured nobody knew nothing where it is.
Nothing was left? Nothing?
Nothing. Well, they were lying, but I figured, why should I'm not going to stay here anyway. Why should I find it, and what will I do with it if I find it? I can take it with me. I went away from that hometown, and I went to Budapest, and from Budapest we went to Prague. We stayed in Prague, how long? From 45 till 49.
Long
And
time.
then we came here. Yeah, and then I came here.
So,
House, yeah, we had. The neighborhood was very good. Everybody liked each other.
did it look like a farm, or did it look like a city? Did it look like
City, like a city, yeah. Yeah, Ungar was a nice big city. There is now 120,000 people in the city. At that time was only around 60,000 people. But most was Christian. Jews must have been there 20% at that time.
this? In your neighborhood, was it?
The neighborhood was all Jewish. But Jewish and non-Jewish, they were together eating from one top. There was no difference, Jewish or non-Jewish. Went to school, the same school. There was never a word, hey, you Jew. Never in the neighborhood by us. No such a thing. So we growed up, and then only Hitler separated us. If not, there would be never. I even met non-Jewish people in Budapest, and he said he was a detective, that guy. I don't remember his name, Yoshka. Anyway, he saw me on the street. He said, Weiss, what are you doing here? I said, I'm not Weiss, I'm Feher. Oh, you better hide. Tomorrow night going to be a big thing. The police going to go look for people who with papers. If you don't have legal papers, then don't come on the street. He was so good to me, as a detective he was. He told me to hide, not to come out tomorrow night.
So you knew him from home?
We were from the same hometown, went to school together. Yeah, and they weren't anti-Semites there, from the hometown people, the Goyish. Never had no problems. Matter of fact, I had a lot of non-Jewish friends in the hometown too. Many, they came to our house, they ate by us. There was no such a thing. I don't know, Hitler opened it more and more.
But your neighborhood was all Jewish?
Most Jewish. Maybe in the street where we were, maybe it was one, not even one, all Jewish, that street. In the next street maybe it was a few. And then somehow they spread it around. The Jewish neighborhood there where Schulz was in Cheders there was all Jewish.
How far was the school from your house?
No, not far, about walking distance, you say a mile.
And the Cheder was in the same place?
The Cheder was even in the same street where we lived. was a rabbi, they call it, from Israel he was. He taught, I went to Fed until I got Bar Mitzvah, till 13. After that, I didn't go anymore. Some people went further, they wanted to learn more from the Hebrew things.
When you get Bar Mitzvah, and did they have a party like they have here?
Yeah, we had a party, yeah, I remember. My mother baked the cake, I mean, a few cakes, and in the house, I had to go to, like here, to the Bar Mitzvah Torah, everything. I got a talis, and I came home, and it was a party Saturday. And same like here, just not such in big style, not, it was poor people.
Was it fun? Did you remember the party and the whole?
Oh yeah, sure. Got new clothes then, shoes and
It was a big deal.
Yeah, that time was a big party, new clothes. And after that, when I got 14, everybody has to look for a job, work most of them. So by 14, I only made 8 grades in school. 6 and 8 is 14. Yeah, 8 grades I made. But when I went to learn the trade, twice a week I had to go back to school to learn business and correspondence, for business. But I learned the trade, the watchmaking, and learned from something from corresponding or business.
So where did you go for that? Back to the school?
Back in the school, yeah, there was twice a week, like Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, I went to go to school there to learn. And by 18, 3 years I learned, I was finished. I went away to another town for a job. Another small town and another small town. Was already in 1931, 32, 33, was already bad. It was very bad.
Bad for everybody.
Yeah. Recession. Like here, between 30 and 33 was here bad. But there was around 32, 33, 34 was very bad. But I still managed somehow to make a penny and to have a meal. Anyway, I remember one day in Bratislava, we were 10 boys, 10 guys, not working. Between the 10, we didn't have so much money to buy a loaf of bread. Somehow scraped together so much to buy, and they cut off a piece. We had a slice of bread a day for a few days. But after that, I went into a store, I got a job. I told them, give me only 1 week job to get so much money to buy a train ticket from Bratislava to Prague. I heard in Prague I'll do good. Everybody said to me, you go to Prague, for you would be better. The tailor stayed there, the shoemaker. But he said, watchmaking is a bigger city to jewelry. And it was true.
Who taught you the watch business?
The watchman there was in the jewelry store. I learned the watch business, yeah.
So you stayed there and learned, and you helped them, and they taught you?
Yeah. I went in a store, and they taught me how to fix watches. 3 years I had to stay there. And I got just 100 crowns a month for that. And I worked for that, cleaning up and that. But after I got 3 years, I was 18, I get a master's paper, like a watchmaker, so I can go out other towns and get a job, show them the papers. I learned and I found a job. That's how I went to Prague, and in a factory where they made watches, that they all made German watches by Swiss parts. The man who had this factory, his name was Eisner, and he was already going down already.